Hi, and welcome to this episode of Maggie's Mindful Moments. I'm glad you're here. I'm Maggie Kelly, your host. I wanted to talk a little bit about the coronavirus, and I know you've probably heard quite enough about it so far. And of course, it has us all really running scared with good reason, right? The word pandemic actually strikes fear in the minds of most of us. I think that if we're human, we're a little concerned, right? But what little we know about the coronavirus is that it primarily affects the elderly or those with pre-existing health conditions or chronic health issues. The panic that has set in worldwide over this novel virus is completely understandable. However, there's a healthy balance between living in uncertainty and outright fear, right? My own son has an underlying lung condition that puts him at a very high risk if he is to contract this virus. And I've had to really stop myself in the past few weeks and check my own thinking, my level of fear, my own worries about him or about whether I catch it from someone and bring it home and give it to him. I've just run all sorts of terribly poisonous scenarios over in my mind about the what ifs that could happen to him or to us as a family should he contract this virus. I've also refused to look at my own bank accounts because I don't want to add to my own stress and I want to see the dips in what I have and worry about it. But like many of you too, I also have stocked up on the dog food and disinfectants and TP. But as I've watched myself over the past few weeks, as we're witnessing the encroaching coronavirus arrive to the United States, I'm actually constantly reminding myself that we all have both positive and negative seeds in our stored consciousness. So really it's up to me which one of those seeds I'm going to water. Do I want to water the negative seeds that make coronavirus look like something that's going to kill us all? Or do I want to water the more positive seeds that suggest this is going to run its course and we're all going to be fine and we're definitely disrupted for a bit? Some things that we want to do are going to be canceled, and some vacations maybe we wanted to take, or maybe not prudent to take, all that sort of thing. I know that I really can't be present enough to really consider which seeds to water if I'm in a state of panic or fantasy that I've literally created in my own mind. Or I know that I also cannot have a stable conscious thinking process when I'm allowing the news broadcasts or anything else like that from the public to come into play into my consciousness and fan the flames of my own concern, right? So this then brings me back to the practice of couple practices actually. One is living in uncertainty, right? None of us like to live in any type of arena of not knowing the answer or not knowing how something's going to turn out. Most of us would rather not make any kind of a decision without some kind of guarantee that it's going to all be fine. But living in uncertainty to a certain degree means that we kind of have to trust how it's going to turn out. And we have to also not try to control the outcome. And that's super tough for anybody, right? The shelves are empty of Clorox wipes and cleaners, disinfectants, and TP. And we believe somewhere in our minds that this gives us a sense of control over what could come down the road, or that somehow we're going to be protected from ever getting the coronavirus because we have these products in our house. And I think in some sense, we all know that's really a false sense of security, right? We are trying to be prepared, of course, in the event that we have to begin social distancing in the way they've done in China and Italy. So I'm not suggesting that we get complacent and start visiting the elderly in nursing homes or anything. But I am suggesting that we have an option to find a more aware and conscious experience inside of this panic and fear and concern. Because when we're in a state of hyper arousal like we are right now, it depletes us of energy. We basically are living in a state of chronic stress. Our emotions, all of our emotions, all of them are just emotions, right? And our problems are not the emotions themselves. In this case, fear and, our problem is actually how we relate to the emotion, which in this particular case is panic, right? So today, I want to see if we can start practice listening to our internal dialogue. Just start tapping into the emotions themselves and ask yourself where the fear is really coming from. Is it the fear of not knowing? Is it the fear of death? Is it the fear of losing control or losing a loved one or your job or money? Are you angry that you've had to cancel one of your trips on vacation, or that they've canceled a favorite sporting event that's coming that you were really looking forward to? Just start to ask yourself, what's really going on in my mind? What am I really thinking? What is really driving my emotions? So remind yourself that nothing is permanent, nothing. The anger, the coronavirus, rain, sun, happiness, joy, pain, none of it's permanent. Nothing's permanent. Remember that every challenge in our lives is a teacher for us in the end. Every single challenge. It's an opportunity for us each to learn something new about ourselves, our reactions, our emotions, our inner dialogue. See if you can continue to plant the positive seeds with positive intentions, and catch yourself when you start to go down that road of gloom and doom, and see if you can kill off all of those internally invented fantasies that you have. Create space in your day, today and each day, just to stop for a moment and process the stress and the concern and the panic and the fear and the worry and all of the uncertainty of these times. Because if you don't stop to take a moment to restore and preserve yourself, it's really difficult to help anybody else. So one of my favorite mentors, Vietnamese Buddhist monk Thich Nhat Hanh, he shared a story about refugees traveling in high seas in a very, very crowded boat. The moral of his story was that if everyone panicked while they were on the boat in the high seas, everything would have been lost. The ship probably would have sank and everyone might have died. But even if just one person on the boat can stay calm and centered, then that's enough, right? So it showed everyone a way to survive. So let's each one of us practice being that one calm person on the boat during this very disruptive and uncertain times. Remember to take care of yourself. It's very difficult to take care of those around you if you're not strong and connected and aware and conscious. So that's all I have for today. Stay healthy, stay sane, listen to that internal dialogue, kill off all the negativity, and water the positive seeds. Namaste.